Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 186, Share Your Notebook, Just Not to CRM. Recorded on Friday, February 18th, 2022 from Zenatta Consulting. I'm Brett Martin.
I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
Oh, yes, we shall. Kind of a slow news week, but we still got stuff to talk about.
I have to stretch it
As
a little bit.
always, we'll
Talk a
stretch,
little
we'll
slower than
vamp, we'll
normal.
talk about some stuff. Maybe I'll get up and messing with our producer here, telling him I'm going to go to the restroom, any minute. Maybe I'll just do that. We can all take a break. We'll see what goes on. Let's get to events. We've revamped our event page. So it's pretty nice now. So nice and big. You can kind of go through it, look at everything you want to do. I will tell you, we've made some significant changes to our registrations. So now, when you go to register for one of our events, which our upcoming event is going to be March 15th, we're going to do Zoho Desk Full Product Tutorial 2022. And man, they had a lot of changes in 2021. So it's going to be there'll be a lot to cover in that as well. But when you go to register on these now, it's going to take you to a nice registration page, and you can choose to register for uh, all of our events, just the ones you want. Get the newsletter, and you sign up here, and this will automatically add whatever events you choose to your calendar. Really, really slick. So the team did a nice job on revamping that. And I think one of the things I'm excited about, Tyler, is it's been a long time since we've had so many events by Zoho
Yep.
and other parties, right? Zoho is really stepping it up. So good stuff. For
Yeah,
the Zero and
2021
Zen
was a
show, as
lonely year. It was a lonely year for us in the content world. It was pretty much only us, it seems like, that was putting on webinars and training. So it's good to see
I
Zoho kind of pumping these out again.
I know. Well, especially I say starting like in October, right? There was nobody. So I don't know. Everybody was taking very, very long holidays there. So who knows? But anyway, as always, head over to zenatta.com/events and you can check out all of the latest news and events. And with that, let's get right on into the news. Our first story is this is kind of, man, Zoho Writer. They're doing so much with it. They've got a whole bunch of new features around merging documents. I feel like we've covered some of this dynamic charts thing. I feel like we talked about a little while ago, but still an extremely cool feature. You can pull data from the CRM, pull it in, and dynamically create a chart inside of a document. Um, really interesting filtering that they've added so you to determine what's merging and what's not merging in. Just a bunch of nice little updates. Tyler, I don't know if any of these jumped out at you. Those were kind of the ones that I thought were pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean they're doing some more work here on what should happen after a merge as well. They announced that a
Yes.
while back. I think we covered it a couple months ago, but you're now able to actually trigger custom functions when a merge happens. So that could do something like auto attach it to a deal, automatically send it to work drive, right? Anything that you can really work out with Deluge. I'm pretty interested though in the dynamic charts. I think that's pretty slick. Um, we've done that in the past using like custom HTML. There was one build we did a while back where, based on some survey results, it automatically put together these charts. If you could just feed merge data into a writer doc, that would be a really slick way to do that. You could imagine charts looking at savings over time, right? If you kind of map some of that out in a deal, then you're pulling in all of that data. Really interesting use cases there. And we just see consistently nice improvements for really all of the Office Suite applications. So that team just does not rest, it seems like.
No, it's good stuff. All right, and moving right along, the most awaited client portal is now live. Well, if you're using Zoho Workily, this is your most awaited client portal. If not, probably not. Anyway, Zoho Workily, this handles basically hourly work, shift work, all that kind of stuff. They now have a client portal, so you can actually have it so clients can log in, look at who's been assigned shifts, approve hours, do all that kind of stuff. This is more for an agency side of thing. Fairly nice feature. I will say, though, there was a gentleman here who from AG Recruitment who evidently uses Zoho Recruit and Zoho Workly very well, and he's really, really looking for more integration between those two. So if you're living that world, and we just don't do that much with Workily. We've never had a
No,
client that
not
needs it.
really.
We play
Yeah.
played around with it, used it. We do recruit all the time. We push that out, but the Workerly part, we've never really had much opportunity to put it to
Yeah, and a
work
lot of
in
the
the
use
real world.
cases yeah, a lot of the use cases that we've found for managing 1099s or, field service, we end up building in Creator, right? Where like they're tracking
Yeah,
their time in there, they're assigned to jobs in there, just because that can also be deployed as an external portal. And you can just get so much more custom functionality and kind of custom workflow by doing it in Creator that we've never really found the big driver to actually dive deep into Workerly.
yeah, exactly. I do want to point some out. AG Recruit here, he lists a whole laundry list of things he want to see, and then Zoho comes back and basically does this. Yes, this is our first phase, this is our second phase. All these other requests are in additional phases and that kind of stuff. Zoho, it would be great if you would publish, what your phases are and
Roadmap.
what's going in, and allow a publish a roadmap. Let us give input. Let clients give input, because, and I hope this isn't the case, but what we often see is, you'll see this something and this will say not 5 days ago, it'll say 5 years ago, right? Someone's going bump. And so it either never was in a roadmap or it just got pushed back. But, I think implementing a feature request, kind of open roadmap kind of thing for your products, I think the power users would really benefit from
Yeah.
that.
Just to kind of know what's coming next, right? For people that are looking at the product that might need certain features, they can make purchasing decisions knowing that, that's slated to come out in a couple months. Definitely would be
Yeah.
nice to have.
Yep. So not perfect, but if evidently you do have a client portal. So if you're using Workly standalone, not necessarily with Recruit, whatever, you've got a portal, people can go in and do some things. So nice job. I'm sure it will only get better. And then you can now share and co-work in notebooks. So Zoho Notebook, which is their note-taking application. Um, Previously, they allowed you to share a specific note card, but the way the structure works is you have a notebook, and in that notebook you have notes, and the notes are kind of called cards. They're note cards that sit inside the notebook. You could share notes, but you couldn't share an entire notebook. Now you can share the notebook, which is very cool. I'm happy to see that. But it's interesting, Tyler. It's my rants. I don't know. It's been a few months. I'm entitled here, right? We still know what I've always wanted in Zoho Notebook was the ability to right click on a card, say attach to CRM. I can do a quick lookup of where I want to attach it and go ahead and attach that note to the CRM. So I did, of course, ask that. Every time they do something like this, I ask the same question over and over again. Now, I thought this was going to be great, and we'll have to check this, but this feature was announced, but this morning we could not get it to work. We spent a little bit of time. I spent quite a bit of time because I thought, well, this could be my workaround, because I could have a notebook and I could then grab that notebook that's for a specific client. I could get the link for that notebook. I could then go over to the CRM and manually attach that link as a link. And by the way, Zoho now, when you attach a link to the CRM, it lets you title that link, which is pretty cool. I don't know when that appeared, Tyler. Was that a little while ago? Because it used to be it would just read
Might
the
have been a
link and
little while
determine what the,
ago.
yeah,
Yeah, it
really
used
cool,
to just
nice feature.
basically grab the top level URL, right? It would just say Google or, notebook, right? It wouldn't actually let you do a custom name.
Right. And so I was, I'm sitting there, okay, this is cool. Let me just grab it. I'll put it in, give it a title. This is going to be great. Click on that link inside the CRM and it will take me to that client's notebook. But it doesn't. It takes you to a notebook, but it's empty. So I don't know exactly what's going on there, but it's
Be
kind
honest,
of,
I mean,
I,
if you're going to be working on a document and you want to collaborate, just go ahead and make a writer doc over in WorkDrive, and it's just going to work flawlessly, no issues. I mean, as of now, I mean, Notebook is great for personal note taking. The UI is nice, easy to use, right? Easy to stay
yeah,
organized. But if you're collaborating on things, it's probably time to just move it over to a writer doc and put it in WorkDrive in a team folder and, really just manage things
just do
that
that.
way. It's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah. Or attach the writer doc as an attachment, like our working notes, or so, yeah, if you want to do that. I mean, it's nice because, CRM, you still don't have rich text, right? So when you're doing notes, they're just plain text that you can put in there. So a writer doc gets you around that. That was one of the things I was kind of liking with notebooks. It'd be nice to attach quick notes to a deal. But anyway, they continue to do some work on it. So there you go. All right. So notebook team, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you, man. Let's see what we can do there. All right. And then Zoho Desk basically got Zoho voice support. So the Z dialer will now work on Zoho Desk. So for those of you who don't know, it's kind of an interesting thing. With any of the telephony integrations, when you integrate them, sometimes they don't work across all applications. Sometimes they do work across all applications. Ring Central is one that seems to support all the applications you'd want it to work with. Anyway, it looks like Zoho Voice is now working with Desk, Tyler,
Very
using the
nice.
Z dialer.
I really,
Yeah,
really, really want that application to be great. I
I
really
do
do.
too.
I'm cheering it on. I'm in your corner, Zoho Voice team. Keep going. Keep working on it. Because we just have, even with Ring Central, that's, the best of the bunch in terms of their Zoho integration, you still bump into issues and bugs and, random kind of resets that are needed. And sometimes it's on the Ring Central side and sometimes it's the Zoho side. I would really love to just be able to tell everybody, hey, Zoho Voice is plugged into everything, works great, fair pricing. I think they'll get
Yeah,
it there.
and they're making
So hopefully
progress. I mean,
they're
it's
working
been
hard on it.
baby steps. Right.
Yeah.
I would have probably not even released it, but maybe they're using this release as kind of like a beta. I mean, I think it should be, hey, we're going to be in beta for 1 year, 2 years. We're going to be adding features to it. I mean, it didn't have a mobile, right, till last week
Port numbers,
when the
right?
mobile
When it
app
came
came
out,
out.
you couldn't port an existing number to it.
When it came out, it didn't integrate into the CRM, right? So that was so it's gotten there better as it's gone along, but it's I went with you, Tyler. This would be a great application. There's so many out there. It would be nice to say, look, if you're using Zoho, this is what you're going to use. I still don't think
Yeah.
you can port numbers, can you? I don't think so. I think that's
Sure,
on the
maybe
list.
not. I thought you could, but I might be wrong. You might still not be able to port them.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But anyway, the app looks great. The interface looks great. It's just missing a few features. And like you're saying, hopefully we get there soon. All righty. So
Alrighty then.
He was waiting with that one.
Uh, Freddie. All righty then. Okay. Tyler, explain to me. We talked about this morning. I have really not spent much time in the CRM using the contribution aspect that you can set back in settings. If you go into settings in the CRM, you can set up, what do they call it? Is it,
Segmentation.
it's, yeah. So talk to me about this.
So yeah, the segmentation is it's a feature that they added to the CRM where it's its whole own settings page where you create different groupings of contacts or accounts. And the way that it's always worked is it was based on like fields on that record. So I could use only the fields that are on an account to create a segment for an account. What this update is going to do is basically allow you to also include fields from related modules to create a segment. So in the case that they have here, if you're watching us on YouTube, they're basically showing that, maybe you have a segment of contacts, but you want to also include contacts that have a specific type of deal related to them in this segment and kind of make one that bridges data between more than one module. They're now supporting that with, basically more than one contributing module. When you see that contribution word, that's kind of what they're referring to. Um, it's a pretty cool update, right? I mean, this is something that there's definitely a use case for. You might want to look at accounts that are in a certain industry that also have a closed one deal. On our side, we generally don't use the segmentation functionality. Our kind of challenges with it is the lack of usability, like once you have the segments made. So like it's not a field on an account. So I can't make like a custom view for it, right? And it's not like a segment that's going to pull into campaigns or analytics, right? So oftentimes what we're doing here when we need these types of segments is creating scripted automations that kind of based on record actions assign segments to different, records like contacts and accounts. Because then that field that you're dictating can pull into analytics. It can be used to create a custom view in the CRM. It can be pulled into Zoho campaigns and used there however you need it. So while this is a cool update and like it does solve a problem for those who are using segmentation, I'm sure this is really helpful. But generally for us, we've not found a big reason to use the whole segmentation suite, when doing it with fields kind of gives you so many more options to work with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for those of you that are more interested, it's attached on here actually is kind of an ebook that they wrote, and I actually sent over to the team this morning and said, "Hey, let's post this up," because there was a time, if you remember, when we scoured the web forever and tried to find any of these random PDFs that were laying all over, and it turns out we've actually had this one up since August 20th, 2020. But this kind of takes you through segmentations, why you would want them, and Zoho did a super nice job with this on putting this all together. So shout out there. So that link will be in the show notes as well. All right, and with that, let us move on to the implementation of the week. What do you got?
Yes, this is one that we built out here pretty much all within the CRM. So it's kind of a way to improve upon the existing CRM email parsing using a custom module. So essentially, what email parsing is setting up an inbox where templated or standardized emails get sent, and then the system reads them to pull out certain data. This is really big in like the real estate industry, for example, where these large lead sources send out an email to 50 different realtors saying first name John, last name Smith, phone number 12345, right? And now that's kind of a new lead that's looking for a home that matches certain characteristics. And the CRM parser is totally workable, right? I mean, any parser is going to have some percent of error. And if you can avoid using a parser, you should. But if you're getting leads from a source that is only going to send you emails, even if the parser is going to be a little buggy, you still want those in the CRM, so you may end up using one. But within the CRM, the challenge is that the email parser can only point to one module. So if you have your parser pointing to the leads module, and maybe a John Smith is sent in, and he might already be a contact in your CRM. And so if we point them directly to leads, you'll actually end up duplicating that contact. And now someone who's halfway through your deal funnel might get an email or a call from an inbound salesperson saying, "Hey, I saw you got in touch. Nice to meet you," when they're already mid transaction. And so what we do here is we create a custom module that the parser will point to. And that module really only exists to hold the data for a function to run. And so in the case of, a John Smith coming in, we'll write their name and their email and their phone number to this custom module. A custom function will then trigger that takes, for example, the email that came in and searches the leads and searches the contacts. And let's say it finds that that person is an existing contact. Maybe it'll just create a task, right? Notifying whoever the contact owner is that this person came back in through another lead source, right? And if it didn't find anyone in the contacts and it didn't find anyone in the leads, then the function can just go ahead and create a lead from that parsed information. So it's kind of just a workaround here to sidestep that limitation with the parser, where you kind of need to search in more than one place before you go ahead and create a record. But for those who are kind of stuck using parsers because a certain lead source is just only going to ever send you emails, it's definitely worth taking a look at.
Yeah, I think this really solves the parser dilemma, you know? 'Cause I mean,
You'll
this was
still have
Jordan
you
that
still have
came
the
up with this
core the
one.
core problem with parsers is just that they are a little unreliable. Even like a really
Yes.
simple email, you might still have an error on 1% just due to random, the length of their last name confuses it, or
Yeah.
weirdly formatted phone number confuses it. But this does at least solve one of the big problems, which is only pointing to one place and generating duplicates as these come in.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is, as we look at using these email parsers, there's also the big problem of somebody decides to change the template. Someone random goes, "Oh, let's just make this template we send everybody different," and they change things around, they give it different titles, and then they break, and then there's wailing and gnashing of teeth. As people are
Yeah.
like, "Oh, my parser's broken." There's
Yeah,
so much that can go wrong
the
with
long story is,
parsers.
the short story is avoid parsers if you can, right? If you can get
Yes.
them to send you a webhook instead, then build this in Flow and you're good to go. But if you do have to
Yeah.
use a parser, this is kind of one way that you can try to keep your data clean.
All right. right. Well, with that, let's move on to our reads of the week. We've got two of them. The first one I really, really like. This is by Tim Ferguson over at Destination CRM. Haven't headed over here in a while, but change management for CRM adoption, what you need to know. And this is basically you're moving to from one CRM to another. Why leave things the same? Right? What are we trying to automate in the new CRM? What are ways of, get a hold of the correct data that we need? What are the best ways to integrate existing data to the CRM? Kind of a nifty little, it's a very small, short article, but for companies that are thinking about moving to a new CRM, maybe from Salesforce over to Zoho, this is a good place to start. It's got some nice stuff in it.
Yep. Yeah, when I was at Cal Poly doing my MBA, the change management was one of my favorite courses, right? And they highlight a lot of those things in here, right? Like you need to have a couple stakeholders who are going to advocate for the change, right? And try to keep people positive and focused, right? You have to kind of incentivize people to get over there.
Yeah.
Good takeaways from this article and a pretty quick read as well.
Yeah, it helps. I mean, one of the things we get a lot is, people come on and they'll say, I just can't get anybody to use the CRM. I can't get my sales guys to do the CRM, right? And it's, well, are we going to do a carrot or stick approach on this entire thing, right? What are we going to do to get them to use the CRM? Carrot's way better. So if you go through
Yep.
this and you do it, then people will be like, oh, I want to use the CRM. It makes my life a lot easier.
Yep.
And then just because the second read here, Tyler, is just because, well, you lost and I won this year's Super Bowl. I'm so sorry for the city of Cincinnati, but
How dare
it's
you?
been a long
How
time for LA.
dare you?
So I'm anyway, HubSpot had an article on the most loved Super Bowl ads of 2022. I don't know if I agree with any of them. It's so funny. I was in Mexico and we were watching the Super Bowl on my laptop sitting in a bar, and we're still watching the commercials as they're coming through. But I couldn't make it like this whole one here with Toyota and the Joneses, right? So evidently
Yeah,
it's
that one
got,
didn't really land for me either.
I didn't get it. Because I guess I don't know Rashida Jones and Leslie Jones all that well, right? And I was like, huh, random commercial with Tommy Lee Jones. So unless you're really up on pop culture, and then Nick Jonas showed up, and that still didn't work for me as I didn't just get it. I was trying to figure out. I guess I missed what he said at the end. Then Jim Carrey had his cable guy. Time for another alrighty then. Huh?
I will say, yeah,
Um,
I am a sucker for Jim Carrey. I did like that one. You can put him in anything and I'm gonna like it. It's just who I am.
I don't know. Did they de-age him on this? It's kind of crazy
It
looking.
seems
But
like it.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we pulled at the heartstrings. Anyway, Super Bowl ads were what they were this year. Everybody has their own opinion about them, but uh, neat little article on what some takeaways from that. Pamela Bump over at HubSpot does some good stuff there. Yeah, all right. And with that, then let's talk about what's new on Zenatta. And what's new on Zenatta is an overview of the webinar that we did Tuesday. Is that right?
It was Tuesday.
Think it was Tuesday. Wow, what a week. So we did our 2022 CRM full product overview, and that is up on YouTube. We brought it in 1 hour, and I think we
1 minute.
covered everything you'd want to know.
I think it was
Getting
61
started with
minutes
that
on the dot.
CRM.
So
Yeah. So anyway, we cover quite a bit, and then if you're a person that doesn't like to write videos, you like to cut to the chase and just go through it. Well, you can just read this article, and it'll give you a lot. But of course, you won't get our wit, our charm, any of those things, right? It'll just be a dry read. So it's up to you. It's up to you. All right. And then, Tyler, we have our pick of the week. This is one that our dev team basically has adopted in a big, big, big way, which is called Text Blaze. It's so much more than kind of a snippet generator and autofill. It does a lot. I have had like 3 or 4 of these that I always use. I haven't moved. I have Text Blaze. I have not moved all my snippets over to it. It seems to be probably one of the more powerful ones I've ever seen. It's got form fills, it's got all kinds of things. And if you're in dev, I think it's really great because they're building out a library of code snippets, right? That they can just easily call on.
yeah, and it works basically via Chrome extension and slash commands. So you can be in any text editor and just quickly grab and add in a template or even a form fill, kind of like you're saying. if you had like an email that you wanted to quickly send and, you want to drop in a name and, a couple little bits of detail, you can do that. It's even got a kind of fun one as a randomizer. So if you're using an email template, you could have it start with hey, hi, or hello randomly at the beginning so that it kind of dynamically changes the way that you're writing things. So it's a pretty interesting tool. Really nice though, specifically if you are doing any software dev where you have certain keystrokes that you're just doing all the time to get certain data or make certain calls. Being able to template that out is a huge time saver.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've always used it more simply for things like people say, "Hey, can you send me some references?" And I keep an updated list with references, and I just do /ref, right? And it
Mhm.
fills in all the references on there. Or people want to book a meeting with me, and I just hit, /cal, and it says, "Hey, click this link to book, get on my calendar," kind of thing. All those little things you don't want to have to type over and over again. But for the devs, I mean, this is just crazy, crazy savings for them across the
Huge
board here.
value.
So really cool application. Not all that particularly cheap. I think you're spending about 80, $90 per year per person. So it can add up if you've got a big team, but I think you probably save it, the time you save, it is well worth it. And that brings us to our tip of the week, Tyler. And this is one that you did on how to set up a mail merge document inside of Zoho CRM. And I have a question for you on this. Have they
Sure.
made it yet so that you can start in Writer and you can create a CRM template in Writer and then associate it to the CRM? Or do you still have to start in the CRM and create the Writer document from inside there?
If you want to if you want to merge it without using a custom function, it does have to start in the CRM. If you're doing it with a
Okay.
custom function, you can put it right in a writer, doesn't matter. But yeah, if you want to go through the normal process and not build a piece of code to do the merge, then it does have to be built in the CRM mail merge templates.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the reason I was asking is someone was talking, they've got a rather large Word document, and you can put that Word document into Zoho Writer, and it'll actually does a fairly good job of formatting. If you copy it into Writer and you convert it into a Writer doc,
Mhm.
it's perfectly formatted, ready to go. But you can't do that when you're starting on the CRM side. CRM side, you
You can
can't do.
import
You
you
can't.
can import a docx. It just gunks up the formatting a little bit.
It does, yeah. It messes it up quite a bit. Right, right. Doesn't do that straight up
So if you
conversion. So
well, I mean,
anyway,
if it's a relatively simple document, you upload it no problem. But if you've got a lot of design on your docx, it's going to need a lot of touch up if you import it into the CRM.
got it. So what'd you do here? Just a step-by-step guide on how to do this?
Yeah, pretty much step by step, where to go to set up the template itself, how to add the merge fields, how to think through what's going to go where in your template, and then how to actually run it from within the deal. So kind of a quick walkthrough, nothing crazy. We didn't spend a lot of time on the design of the document itself, right? Because at the end of the day, that's going to work pretty much the same as any word processing tool. So we really just focused on getting the data in, how to work with it, being able to edit it through the process, and then getting it out the door.
Do you cover any of like the if-then statements or any of that?
Not on this one. That would be on a more advanced walkthrough for mail merge.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, by the way. So we use that for a lot of our documents where you're doing a mail merge, and it looks in the CRM and it says, if this field is X, then insert this into the
Why?
document,
Yeah,
right? Insert
exactly.
Y into the document, right? And so you can do that, with huge sections. So maybe you got like 60 sections that would go into a document, but only five apply to someone. It's just going to put those sections in. So the mail merge feature is super powerful in
Yep.
inside of Zoho. All right, and that brings us to our Q&A. But before we get there, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching this video right now, help us out. Subscribe, hit the bell, get the notifications. You don't want to miss a single thing that Tyler and I do. So there you go. Well, let's get to the questions, Tyler. I have actually not read any of these yet, so this should be fun. All right. So our 2021 Sales IQ Answer Bot tutorial, you did this. He is saying, as a Zoho One user, there are so many programs. I don't need all of them, but use a few, and I found your videos easy and helpful. Well, thank you. I did have one question regarding operator availability. I'm am using AnswerBot. I have turned it on 24/7, but I only have one team member available to answer Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. I am also a user, but I have mine set to busy basically always. I want to make it clear when there is only a bot on versus when someone is available to assist. It seems like you have Sales IQ open. It says there's always someone on. What is the best way to make sure my visitors know when someone is there or not? Tyler,
I don't
any
think it
ideas
does
on
that.
this?
Yeah, I don't think it really
No?
supports that. I mean, if you, there's a couple questions in here. If you are online on Sales IQ, but you're set to busy, it shouldn't be saying someone is on.
It
So if
shouldn't.
you're seeing that, then you want to ping Zoho and see. It might just be something stuck on their side in the cache, and it's just erroneously saying that somebody is online. But unfortunately, to my knowledge, these bots don't tell someone that no one is online until they try to chat or connect to an operator. So unfortunately, I don't know if that can really be solved for.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought I normally if someone's offline, no one's there, it just says no one's available. But you're saying the bot would
Yeah.
override that and not let
Well, the
them know
bot will
that.
still allow you to chat up until the point when it needs to
Right.
do a handoff, and then at the point that it needs to do a handoff, it will. Um, that's when it will say there's nobody online. You could look. I don't want to give you bad advice. With a Zobot, you may be able to have the first action of the Zobot be a custom function that queries user status. I think there's an API that should give you like active users or a list of users and their current status. Or then maybe you could kind of present that early on in like a Zobot flow, right? Like right when they open it, the first thing it does is run a function and then respond based on that function. But you might need a little bit of deluge code there to kind of map out the statuses for each user.
So you're saying have it run the function look. If someone's available, it would just say, hello, how can I help you? Like it normally would, right? And go through the Zobot functions. Or it would say, no one's available to talk right now. Would you like to talk to our automated assistant? That kind of thing,
Yeah, something
based
like
upon
that.
that status. So
Yeah.
change the opening message. Okay.
Yeah,
I
the
didn't know you
right
can.
right
There's
when the bot loads. Yeah, but I'd want to the thing to double check though is just that all those APIs are stable and working to be able to get the active statuses, get the users, and then make those decisions. But as long as all of that is okay, then you should be able to accomplish it that way.
nice. All right. And from our Zoho campaigns full product tutorial 2020, Oliver Level says, amazing video. Thanks so much. You are welcome, Oliver. I think I might move over from active campaigns to Zoho campaigns now based upon this video. Cheaper and better integration with Zoho CRM, no doubt. Quick question. Is there a way to duplicate an email? If I make a welcome email in one spot and I want to integrate that into a welcome email series later, can I easily copy it as Strauss? Thanks so much for helping. You can just make it a template, Oliver, and
Yep.
then just pull from it as much as you
Yeah,
would like. So,
anytime you're working on an email, even if you were building the content inside of like a workflow or a welcome series, under the save button, there's save and then save as template. And so anything that you're working on, you could always save as a template and then use later in a future email campaign.
all righty. And then for our 2021 mail advanced settings, does Zoho Mail have email encryption? No, they do not. I don't believe, unless I'm wrong.
No,
I don't
not
think
like a
so, Tyler.
Proton Mail or any of those that really wrap it with
Yeah,
encrypted. Yeah.
no. Sorry about that, Shiles Productions. And then moving on from our Click full product tutorial for 2020, which is quite outdated. Don't we have? Didn't we have a 2021 one, Tyler?
I don't
If
think
not, man,
so.
we
I
need to
think so.
get
Yeah,
on
we
our
need to
Click
circle
game
back
because
on some of these.
that has changed quite a bit. Thanks, guys. Really great. I was reviewing Click. I tried to install the notebook for Click, but it doesn't seem to work on the Australian data center. I also had a similar issue with my bookkeeper having access to my accounts and books. She set up in the US data center, and me being on the Australian data center. There are all sorts of fun and games getting her decoupled from US and set up on AU. It is what it is. Is this a technical issue or a jurisdiction issue? In any case, love the information you guys deliver. Steven Sandor, man, notebook for Click. I have not played with that, Steven. You know, it's one of those things. My guess is so I think is there a marketplace application for that, Tyler? I think there
Yeah, it
must be,
might just
right?
be unique to a data center.
It could be. For those of you who don't know, Click is really interesting. So most of the time, data centers don't come into play, but Zoho has a dozen, 15 data centers spread out around the world. And there's the US data center, which aggregates 2 or 3 different data centers, and that's your US data center. You got the EU data center, which is 2 or 3 data centers, and that's your EU data center. And then down in Australia, I think they've got 2 data centers. But normally when you log in, you're in that data center. It makes things quick for you. Yes, it's all backed up. It's global. They do all of that. But, you're accessing locally in your data center. When Click was first released, this became a big problem because Click doesn't really communicate across data centers. And I don't think they've solved for that yet. But the notebook thing, I think, is unrelated. It's got to be probably a problem with maybe with the marketplace application. I'll play with that, Stephen, and we'll post this in this reply in YouTube, and if I can find something different, I'll follow up on it there as well. All righty, then moving on. Sarhana McGregory says, after watching our Zoho People product tutorial 2021, has this changed in the 2022 version because the tool menu bar there is no time off icon to select? Probably. I think what you're asking is you're watching this video and things aren't where they should be anymore. So my guess is Zoho has, in fact, they have made some changes and some modifications to that UI. That's always the problem with doing video tutorials, doing anything like that, is things can change, and they can change quickly.
Knowing Zoho, they change often. They're always working on these products one way or another.
Yeah, things move around, they change them. Sometimes it drives us crazy because things will be the same for years, and you don't even think. You've got muscle mouse memory, right? You're just going to on the page where something's going to be, and you go there and it's not there, and you're like, where did it go? And you spend a long time looking for it. So I don't know. You're looking for the time off icon in the toolbar menu. We'll see if we can find out where that is. Maybe put a screenshot in there for you, but you've probably already found it by now. That would be my guess. All right. And then we've got Peter Coy has said in Club Zenatta, if you're not familiar, just go to club.zenatta.com and sign up. It's our own little community. You can leave us messages. We'll chat. There's a whole community going there. What are you doing? Get over there now. Anyway, Peter says, in the new CRM calendar, is the new CRM calendar a true universal? I hope we can integrate with CRM events, which have two-way integrated with Google Calendar. Your thoughts? It seems to be, Peter. I haven't had any problem with that calendar. It seems to pull everything in from CRM. It also is its own calendar, though, so it displays it as CRM calendar, and then it displays it as the other calendar. If you were saying, like, is it just one Zoho calendar? It doesn't appear that way, Tyler. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to treat all the calendars separately.
Separate from like your Zoho calendar or your Zoho projects calendar or your Zoho desk
your
calendar.
CRM. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It would be nice to have a universal calendar you could pull in, but that is not the case with that. Wow. That is it. Any questions in the chat room? We do not have any. So with that, we'll wrap up the show. I want to thank everybody so much for joining us. If you have any questions or comments, head over to club.zenatta.com. You can ask them over there and we will answer them on next week's show. If you want to check us out, just head over to zenatta.com.
On the website is where you'll find complete episodes as well as show notes with links to all the stories we discussed today. We'd love if you would follow us on your favorite social media platform and subscribe to us here on YouTube and on your choice of podcast app. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next Friday.
Excellent show, buddy. We managed to take 4 news stories and drag them out for 39 minutes. There you go. All right, everybody. We'll see you soon.